Hello and welcome to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell, Youth Services Director at the B.B. Comer Memorial Library. I'm very excited to be here today. I want to give a big thank you to TV47 and Robert especially for being so kind and allowing us to have our programs on to let the community know the events going on at the library or friends of the library. All kinds of things going on, and today we have a very special friend of the library and a very special friend of me. This is Ginger Clifton. She is from Sylacauga and just like another mother to me, so we're just going to have a great time sitting here just chatting about you, Ginger, and all that you do and your life.
Well, thank you, Mandy. Thank you. Mandy is my daughter. I just got two sons, but Mandy's my daughter.
Well, thank you. Well, just kind of briefly, most people probably know you, but just tell them, I know you've taught school and done a lot of different things. Tell us about yourself and your family.
Well, there's not a whole lot to tell. I've lived in Sylacauga all my life.
That's good. That's great.
And that's why I guess I like it so much. It's home.
Yeah.
And I moved here when I was 2.5, and so I attended all Sylacauga City schools, including First Methodist Kindergarten even, and Avondale Kindergarten for a while. So then when my children came along, they went through Sylacauga City schools, and so I've loved the library from the very beginning because I think my daddy must have taken me to the library the first year we were here. I wish
really?
I knew exactly what year I got a library card, but I know it was real early on. It was down in the old Comer Museum and Arts building, and I can still remember that wonderful room right at the back behind the desk that smelled like books and floor polish and had those little benches that you could sit on and read the books.
Yeah. We still have some of those. The ones where you can put the book up in front of you like this.
Yeah.
We have them upstairs.
Still have them. Okay, I need to go sit on one of those again.
You do. Bring your grandchildren. I know when you go. Well, we are so glad to have Ginger. I'm so glad to have her on the TV program. She's at the library just about as much as I am. It seems like about every day. She is so supportive of our programs, Community Links and Brown Bag, and we do appreciate that. I know you enjoy them, and we're glad to have you come.
Well, I mean, I don't know how anybody lives in this town and doesn't participate in all the things the library does, because it's just a wonderful program still for preschool right on up through senior adults. They have a program for everybody.
Service from cradle to the grave.
And that is absolutely the truth. And it's just a great place to be. And the brown bags bring all the spirit and the liveliness to the library that us old folk have kind of lost. And we go there and we eat together and visit together and we continue to learn, which I want to learn as long as I'm still alive. I want to be learning something.
That's great. Well, one thing, I mean, I've known you for a long time, and one thing I know that you love to do is read. And you're in the library not only for programs, but also to get books. I see you in and out a lot. You wave at me from downstairs. In and out getting books. How long have you loved to read, or has it been your whole life?
I say, I think I've loved to read all my life, and I think it's because of lots of different things. One thing is because my daddy encouraged reading. He encouraged reading, and always was singing rhymes and poems and little ditties, and some of those I couldn't sing to you right now. But I knew that was for me and my ears only, and you learn a lot from when you're growing up, when you're little. And I was so lucky when we moved here, we moved in an old store building. It was during the war, right after World War II, and it was my mother said, I never thought I'd live in a place like this. It was not a pretty house, but it was a wonderful experience because I can still remember Miss Edwina Stanton, who lived somewhere nearby, would take me with her to kindergarten. I was too young to go to kindergarten. I was just 2 or 3, and you were supposed to be older than that. But she would let me walk to kindergarten with her, and she could read a story and tell a story, let me tell you. And First Baptist Church was the same thing. I started going there, and they had so many good storytellers and readers. So, I've loved reading all of my life. and I still do, and I want my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren now to be readers, and I think they are.
They will be, I know.
Yeah.
Because you said your grandmother was, and I have a picture, I believe, of your grandmother and then one of you. There's your grandmother.
That's my Irish grandmother. She married an Irishman too, and their parents came over on different ships from Ireland. And my daughter-in-law, who's such a good genealogist, has found all that information for me. Yeah. And what I love about that is I have her journals that she wrote little pieces about books that her club called the Scribblers in Fairhope, Alabama in the early 1900s. Wow. And she was a member of that club. And she wrote little pieces about the books that she read and so forth and so on. And, you know, I just think that had a lot to do with my daddy liking reading so much, and then it passed it on to me.
Did you know your grandmother?
I did not know her until after she had had a stroke, and she was old and could not speak, and she was in a chair, which they called a rolling chair. It was one of those great big old bulky wheelchairs that they had in those days. And she lived with my Aunt Loretta in Columbiana, and they would roll her out on the front porch, and I would perform for her. And the way I would perform was I would say from memory most of To Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street.
I love that. Yes.
Written by Dr. Seuss. And it came out in 1948, the year I was in the first grade.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I loved that book, and I would say it to her, and she would laugh. And I really thought I was something.
Well, you were. You were.
I really thought I was something. Still like stories about Marco. About Marco's, if you don't know that book, it's about Marco's imagination.
Yes.
And how his daddy said, "What'd you see on the way to school?" And he came up with this big whopper story. And I love that book because it's so typical of little boys and girls.
That's true. That's true. And you are a great storyteller. I've heard several of the stories you've told. It's just very, very fun, very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think that helped me confirm that I could memorize, which really has stood me in good stead over the years. Yeah. And I still love Dr. Seuss, and I love Shel Silverstein's books about poetry that are so cute and so engaging to children.
And
I love them.
And to adults.
I
think they are.
You know, when my grandson got to be a man and had his own money and a job, and he gave me a Shel Silverstein book for my birthday, he said, "Grandy, I still remember sitting in your lap hearing you read those poems to us."
Oh, that is great.
That is great. Isn't that great?
It is. We're going to pause right now. We could just talk for like 3 hours. We're going to pause for a commercial break, and we'll be back to talk more in just a minute.
Hi, it's Shawnee McNeil at South First Bank. This is a great time for you to buy or build a new home, or maybe refinance your present mortgage. Our rates are the lowest they've been in years, and that means saving you money. We've been helping our customers become homeowners in this area for nearly 70 years, and we can make our approvals right here in the office, and that means saving you time. We're located here in downtown Sylacauga. Come in and find South First, a better way to bank.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by today and see us. Marble City Pharmacy, where your health comes first.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Thank you for joining us back on Library Connection. I'm talking with Ginger Clifton. We're talking about her love of reading and her connection to the library, but now I want to talk about your love of writing. You enjoy writing, I know, and you have for several years. How did that get started?
Well, I've always liked to write. I always liked to write children's stories because I taught children, and I would write something to go with whatever was going on in the classroom at the time. Remember one time I wrote about the eyeballs in the teacher's desk, and it was about some contact lens that lived in little glass jars in the teacher's desk, and one was brown and one was blue, and they couldn't get along with each other. So it was a kind of a metaphor for what was going on in my classroom.
Oh, okay.
And you know, I just like to write.
That is great.
And I started writing for Sylacauga Today the year that Beth Yates died. Beth and Maxie had such an impact on my life and on everybody my age that lived in Sylacauga, because they taught us manners, they taught us how to dance and how to be polite with each other and all of this wonderful stuff. So I asked him, could I write a piece about Beth Yates? And he said, sure, I'd love for you to do that. Been writing ever since.
Everybody loved it. And so now your article, this comes out about every 2 weeks, and it's Remembrances of Sylacauga, right?
Right.
Now you're on a series now. You found some old pictures. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And let's look at one of those that you found. Tell about that one.
Okay, isn't that a wonderful picture? And I don't have those names right here with me, but if I went around that table, you would see names that a lot of people in Sylacauga would still recognize. Okay. Tommy Jones and James Jones and Bill Curtis Lyles is there on the end with the dark glasses. Yeah. And Leonard Smith, remember Miss Smith who taught at the high school? Yeah. Her husband is sitting right down there in the end with the bow tie. Dewey Riggins, who drove the city bus. Did you know Sylacauga had a bus?
Oh, no.
And he was at Riggins. He was a cousin of my mother's.
Okay.
He's sitting on the end here in the front. And next to him is Chief Ashcraft, who was the police chief at the time. Okay. And they gathered together at the Dixie Cafe to have coffee every day. See, up there on the wall it says Monday Coffee Club.
Oh.
And they had mugs with their names in gold. Now, isn't that hilarious?
Oh, my goodness.
Look at all those mugs on the wall up there.
They met every Monday.
I don't know for sure. I wish I knew the rules to the club, because there had to be some rules, because it said if you didn't come a certain number of times, you didn't get your own mug.
Oh, okay. How funny. How funny.
I think it's funny, too. So I said, wonder where the Dixie Cafe was. So I called Ray McDermott, who's probably the icon of Dixie drugs in Sylacauga.
Yes. Yeah.
And he said, I said, do you know where the Dixie Cafe was? And he said, sure, my parents ran it.
Oh, wow.
And so it was at one time the Dixie Drug and Cafe. Okay. And it was located right across the street from B.B. Comer Library.
Okay.
Where the municipal complex is now.
Oh, wow. That was a few years ago.
That was a few years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, oh, I wish I had a picture of that. And he said, I do have one. He said, go to the museum and look on the back wall, and you will see the picture of the building and everything.
Okay.
So I went down there, and sure enough, there were 2 pictures, and Donna was Renfro, who's the museum curator.
Yeah.
She copied them for me.
Oh, good.
So if you want to read about that, you're going to have to get another Sylacauga Today. It'll be in there in the next issue.
Okay. So a lot of work goes into your articles. I know. I saw you at the library looking through some old newspapers.
Yeah,
and that.
Well, sometimes I just what we used to do on what do you call those questions, essay questions on a test. Sometimes I just shoot the breeze.
Well, that sometimes it's from your heart. Maybe it's always from your heart, but sometimes
but these that are researched are fun.
Oh, how
they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because you learn so much about that. I just think that's fascinating. That men back then had coffee clubs, just like we have the Jack's Coffee Club and the McDonald's Coffee Club and the Burger King Coffee Club.
I think so.
They had coffee clubs then, too.
Well,
and it's not about the coffee, I don't think.
No,
just like garden clubs are never about the garden.
It's about the fellowship.
Yeah,
baby.
it is.
That's
really
great.
Is.
That is
it
nice.
Really is.
I'd like to see some mugs with their name in gold again now.
And that's one thing I'm going to say in my article. Is it possible that somebody in their parents' stuff still has one of those mugs?
Oh,
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
That would be neat.
That would be so neat.
Oh, God. Well, you've written a lot of things to be published like this, but I can speak for some things you wrote just for fun. Every time my girls had a birthday, this is the Princess Test, written for Allison Cantrell on her princess birthday by Granny C, which is what they call you, in 2002. This is just one of them. I have, I don't know, a dozen or more, I'm sure, of these that you took the time to make a special book for each one of my girls on their birthday related to whatever their birthday theme was. If it was a skating party or a princess party or a backwards party, that was kind of fun. But that was so sweet. We appreciate that. The girls just treasure these.
Well, I'm
And
so
I do
glad you
too.
kept them.
I
I'm so glad you have
have
kept them.
Oh my goodness, couldn't get rid of them.
And you know,
They love
anybody can do that. If you've got children and you want to surprise them, put the actual photographs
Yes.
that you have taken of them in a little book, and they will love it. Their name is in their own book. You don't have to send it off to some company and pay them $50 to put your child's name in a book.
Right.
Do it yourself.
This is, I mean, I'm not knocking you. It's a handmade book.
It's a
But
handmade book,
It is
absolutely.
a treasure with some illustrations, a picture there, and you drew a little bit in here, so it's great.
And I can't draw, y'all.
Well, I tell you, the girls never said that. They just said, "Oh, I wonder what Granny C's going to write me this year." They could. It was the best present ever.
Well, thank you so much. Your family has been
Oh.
such a blessing to me.
Well, thank
and
you.
you continue to try to keep me informed on what's new in young adult fiction and stuff, which you and I have always loved.
Yeah.
In fact, we went, our family, Mandy's and I, my family,
Yeah.
our common family, went to see our Bridge to Terabithia.
We did.
Because we had read that book. We had all read it, and we
Yeah.
wanted to see what the movie was like.
Yeah, that was fun. We need to continue doing that.
I
We need to, there are
know.
a lot of good movies coming out that are related to books.
The movie's never as good as the book.
That's true. I believe so.
Movie
But
is
that's something
never
we can
as
talk
good
about.
as the book.
Makes for good conversation.
It
though,
does,
to find
it does.
what the differences
It
were and
does,
everything
it
about
does.
that. Great. Well, we're going to pause again for another commercial break, and we'll come back and talk with some more with Ginger.
Hi, it's Shawnee McNeil at South First Bank. This is a great time for you to buy or build a new home, or maybe refinance your present mortgage. Our rates are the lowest they've been in years, and that means saving you money. We've been helping our customers become homeowners in this area for nearly 70 years, and we can make our approvals right here in the office, and that means saving you time. We're located here in downtown Sylacauga. Come in and find South First, a better way to bank.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our knowledgeable pharmacists are always available for questions about your medications or advice on taking over-the-counter products and supplements. Our friendly staff can assist you in choosing from our full lines of compression hose and medical equipment. And don't forget our gift department. We have a great selection of unique gifts for every occasion. Stop by today and see us. Marble City Pharmacy, where your health comes first.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell. I've been talking with Ginger Clifton. I'm going to talk fast because we've got a lot of things to cover in these last 7 or 8 minutes. We've had a great time talking about your writing, and I know you write for Sylacauga Today. You've written books for my girls, but you've written some articles that have been published also, right? Tell us about the first one.
Well, I started, like I said, I had my whole filing cabinet full of different things I'd written, but I wanted to see something published in a book that a lot of people would read. So I sent a piece to Mature Living the year I retired from teaching school, and they published it.
Oh, yeah.
And then I sent more articles to Mature Living, and probably had 4 or 5 different ones published with them. And I tried to do different things, a travel piece about our trip to Washington, D.C. with the senior adults, and tried to branch out, do a few different kinds of things for them, and enjoyed doing that. And then I had this exciting thing happen on my birthday where it was just a weird event that I wanted to write about, and I sent it to Guidepost magazine, and they responded right away and published it in their little book called Angels. But I found out when you send it to a national publication like that, they really do a lot of editing. And it wasn't the editing that I minded, because I know I'm just an amateur writer, but it was they changed the whole tone of the piece, and I didn't like the way they did it. So I never sent anything back to that magazine. I think if you're going to be published, you got to be flexible. Maybe I'm not flexible enough. I'm like a lot of people. If I've done it, I just kind of want to leave it alone, leave it like I did it. If you like it, okay. If you don't, okay. But don't change it to say something I didn't say.
It's your own creation.
Yeah.
So you want it to stay. I can understand that.
It was just a piece that they just changed the whole tone of it, and I didn't like that.
Wow.
But I'm still thinking I need to keep trying to get published. I hadn't done that in a long time with a magazine or a book. So I might.
You're busy with
still
this.
I might still do that.
Well, you taught school for how many years now?
38.
38.
38.
And retired several years ago.
Yeah.
So but you're still very busy. I
am.
Writing, and I know with the Marble Festival, you and some of your Marble Maniac, the other retired teachers wrote a curriculum for the schools. Is that correct?
We were very proud of that, because we found that people in Sylacauga don't even know that Marble is here. So we tried to put together with Nelda at the library's help, and she's just helps everybody.
Yes,
and we put together a DVD of slides of the Marble history of Sylacauga, and we wrote the text for the slides, and we took it to all the schools. And we're hopeful that if all the elementary schools in the area will show that to their students, then people will be more informed about where we live and the treasure that we have here in Marble.
Yes, I know. At the library, you helped me you put together, I shouldn't say you helped me, you put together a slideshow for me to use with preschool story time. You're never too young to learn about where you
can
live.
Always go with the big dump trucks and the big tires and all the things that preschoolers like about the Marble.
And I still use it today. That was several years ago. I do. I've edited a little bit. One of the quarries has changed names and added some pictures of some of the latest sculptures. But that is wonderful for you ladies to have put that together for the teachers. Because that took a lot of time.
Yeah. We had fun. We had so much fun doing it. And when we did the scavenger hunt, that was fun. I learned so much about Sylacauga.
Yeah.
But it got to be that we had used just about all the Marble places in the area, and we had the same people coming back every year to do it, and we really felt like we were not reaching any new people by doing that. So that was dropped from the festival, but it had its place in 2008, I think, was the first year. No, that's the first year for the festival. 2010, I think, was our first year.
It was
or 9, maybe.
It was so much fun. I remember grandparents, because we had the forms at the library, coming in and saying, it's spring break, we're going to take our grandchildren around and teach them about Sylacauga, what a livery stable is, and things like that they learn.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Anything that you do, even if it can't last forever.
Right.
But anything that you do, you learn from, and maybe it enriches a few people, and that's what you want to
That's the
do.
goal.
That's the whole thing. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I know we go to church together too. I know you're very involved in church. You teach Sunday school. Is that correct?
Right. And that's probably the thing that I read the most now. Is I read I read Bible commentaries and study books because I know my time is a lot shorter than it used to be.
Oh.
So I want to be as informed as I can be if I'm going to teach. So I spend a lot of time. There's a 5-book commentary by J. Vernon McGee that I really love, and I study the Bible using all the Baptist curriculum and mostly that commentary. And I love doing that too.
That's great.
So anyway.
Well, you're a great teacher. I'm not in your class, but I hear people say you're a great teacher.
Well,
They
thank
enjoy
you for
sitting
that.
with you.
I learn more than I teach, for sure. I mean, I think any teacher does.
Right. If you want to learn something, you need to teach it.
Yeah, I mean, I learn more from those 2nd and 3rd graders, and even the kindergarten.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that,
Yes,
don't you?
yes, that's great.
So,
Gosh. Well, you've always been so very involved in Sylacauga with the Marble Festival, the library, the church, all different areas. You did Leadership Sylacauga?
I did,
Yeah.
and I love that. We have such a treasure with Drs. Ted and Shirley Spears here that start programs like this, because I'd lived here all my life and I'd never been to the sewer plant, for example, and find out exactly what all is involved in keeping our water clean and and we went all over the city and had representatives from every facet of community life, and I learned so much, and I'm glad that they let me, even though I was already old and retired, they let me be a part of that, because it helped me to appreciate my city even more than I do. And right now, first basketball championship in 31 years. Go Aggies!
I know,
wonderful.
I'm so excited. I'm just really excited for that. I've seen some of the players and the coach.
It's a wonderful place to live, Sylacauga, Alabama.
It is.
And B.B. Comer Library is a wonderful part of it. And all those people that work down there, like Mandy, they are so dedicated to what they do. You could go in there and say, I'd like to read so-and-so, and they'll call you in 2 days and say, I have you a copy of that.
Wow.
And they are just wonderful.
Well,
so,
thank
I mean,
you. We
if
try.
if you want to grow, go.
Right.
Now,
Well,
that's a new symbol. So
if you want to grow,
go.
I'm for that. That's great. Well, we do try our best, and it's people like you. I mean, we couldn't function without volunteers and people who are supportive of us.
Yeah,
at the library.
it's my pleasure to ever do anything I can to enhance what y'all do, because y'all do so much day in and day out. And, people don't know, a lot of people don't know, like young parents don't know, what book do I need to get to read to my child? And Mandy is a person that you can go to, and she can show you books that have stood the test of time, that your child needs to read this before they grow up.
We sure can do that, or they can ask you too, one of those.
And that's a wonderful thing.
Well, our time is up, but thank you, Ginger, for what you do for Sylacauga, for the library, and for our city. And thank you for joining me on Library Connection.
Thank you for having me.